Hello everybody, this is Eric Sullivan. We are in video number 2 about introduction to programming, and in this particular video we're going to be looking at the Google Colab environment. So here we are. All right, the Google Colab environment is a programming environment that allows you to mix together text, which is going to contain explanations of the work that you're doing, along with code and code output. So I'm actually sitting here in the Google Colab environment. Now, a point on semantics, Google Colab is a Google-owned product, so it works well with your Google Docs, but it's actually a Jupyter notebook. Jupyter is a much larger project that is really all about building this type of notebook environment for doing coding. So the first time you want to launch a Google Colab document, just open up a new tab, search for Google Colab. You're going to come to a screen that looks just like this. You won't have all of these other documents, and you can just say, New Notebook. Now I have a brand new notebook. So let's poke around a little bit. There's a few things that we should notice straight away. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so we've got the normal kind of stuff up here on the top right-hand corner, which looks like a Google Doc. So I've got me, I've got some sharing privileges, I've got commenting, things like that. And over here, I can add code or I can add text. So, and I can also, if I hover above one of these cells, I can add code or text. So let's add some text. I'm gonna press enter. And now when I'm done writing, I can press Shift, Enter, and it evaluates that cell and generates that text. Okay, so now let's do some code. Z equals 2, X equals 4, B equals Z plus X, print B. You know, whatever, some really, really simple code. It's hopefully fairly obvious what this is going to do. So I can Shift, Enter, and it evaluates that code. Now notice it's thinking, because that's the first time we've evaluated anything, and it prints the code for me. So now I've got text and code all kind of embedded together. Now we're going to use this to do basic computations. So say, for example, I just wanted to take 2 plus 32 over 7. Okay, I've got a calculator. It does simple calculations for me. I can go back and change those computations. Oh, I didn't want 2, I wanted a 4. Shift, Enter, I can rerun it. Perfect, okay, we've got a calculator, that's perfectly fine. But I can actually save my work here, unlike in a regular calculator. If I just go up and change the name, in my Google Drive, that's now actually testdocument.ipython notebook. Okay, so the first thing you can do is you can just use this as a calculator, but you can also say, let's put some text in. The next code will do an amazing calculation. Okay, so now you've actually got exposition that you can mix along with your computation. The future you can look back on and say, what was I trying to do here? And actually read the exposition. You can also write comments in your code. A comment starts with a hashtag. So you can talk about a single line of code and say, this is a comment about that single line of code. Or you could come up here and say, come on, there we go. Think of the comments as a note to your future self, and think of the text here as more long explanations as to what you're doing when you're solving the problem. So coming back to what I had over here, we've already talked about it's a Jupyter notebook. We can do text, we can do code, we can do the code output all in one place. So why are we doing this instead of a calculator? Well, File, Save. There's the #1 priority over why we're doing this in a calculator. I can actually save my work. #2 is that a calculator is basically only for garbage calculations. You do them once, you write them down, you throw them away. We don't want that as modern scientists and modern mathematicians. We want to have code and computations that we can go back to and check and rework and play with. So I can save my work, I can come back to it later, everything's all good. Moreover, things are very complicated sometimes. So this is what, 4 very quick lines of code. You might have 50 or 60 lines of code, and you're not going to want to do that by hand or in just a simple calculator. Okay, saving, sharing, and exporting your work. So for a Google Colab document, say that I'm finally done with this Google Colab document, I can save it, and it saves to my Google Drive. That's perfectly fine. It saves it as an IPython notebook, which I can just open back up from Google Drive. I can, oops, I want to do this first. I can share it just like you can in other Google documents. So I can get some sharing privileges. Let's say, clicking through here, anybody with the link can comment. Or let's say you're working with a partner. Anybody with the link can edit. Now, it's not going to let you edit simultaneously like other Google documents, but maybe you can have 2 editors on the code who are working at different times. Then you can copy this link and send it off to your partner. That's perfectly fine. A third way to export your work is if I go to print, my print dialog box here. Now, this is just for my home printer here, but every printer will have something like this. If you do save as PDF, you can now generate a PDF file that just gets downloaded to your computer that you can say upload to Moodle as a document that you're going to have somebody grade, which I'm not going to do right now. Okay, so the Google Colab environment is where we're going to live and where we're going to write our code. I'm going to show you a lot more about the Google Colab environment in the next video.